Hi everyone, I'm Jennifer. Welcome to Antiquing Adventures, where I share the vintage treasures I find in thrift stores and antique malls. Thanks for coming on this adventure with me. It's time for another episode of Thrifting for Vintage, and I have to give this disclaimer. I spent more time at estate sales this month than thrift stores, so today's items come from a mix of places. Let's see what discounted treasures I found. This estate sale had some great mid-century lamps, and as you can see from the carpet and paneling, a totally groovy basement. Interestingly though, I didn't realize till I was putting this video together that the lamp on the left is the very one I spotted at a thrift store a few weeks later. You can see the color better here. It's quite a lovely base, and a new shade would really update this nicely. Side note, why were lampshades the size of an oil drum in the 60s? They're so huge. At any rate, they certainly make a statement. Now, this lamp is tagged vintage, and I'm assuming that means it's made from vintage parts because the industrial style seems like a modern creation to me. Even so, it's a great way to repurpose old pieces that might not get used otherwise. This little guy was no more than $1, and it turns out it would have been part of an apothecary set. I'm trying to think what you would store in these because the word apothecary typically relates to medication. I'd be inclined to use them as spice jars if there was a way to label them without covering up the design. I fell in love with this planter. The gold accents with the black and white look very 50s to me. This would be a way to bring a mid-century touch to a room in a different way, other than furniture or wall art. I found out the hard way that these two little oil lamps still had oil in them. They are about 3 inches high, and between the oil and the burned wick, it's clear the previous owners actually used them at some point. These would actually be really handy to have around during a power outage, especially for $1 each. Now, this domed silverware holder is not like anything I've seen. I'm wondering if someone made it and that's why it's so unique. Drop a comment if you've seen one of these before. I'd be interested to know the backstory. Silverware is not usually something that is displayed, so this would be perfect if you had a particularly lovely set you wanted to show off. These skates are from before my time, but maybe some of you remember using something like these. Now they'd be adorable as decor on a shelf or on top of a dresser in a little kid's room. I also found these fun brushes that I'm going to call antique because they look like they could be from the 1920s with that Art Deco detail. And this delicate lady's hat has some netting that has seen better days, but can't you just see someone pinning this on their perfectly coiffed hair and then slipping on their white gloves before grabbing their pocketbook and heading out? I got all of these for $2 each or less. Back to the same groovy basement. This was a large Sony stereo recorder, which I assume was used to record things, although I didn't see a microphone. Not quite as handy as a smartphone. Anyone recognize this that can share more about it? Let me know in the comments. And last but not least, this frame was very heavy and has what appears to be a Bakelite type of plastic back. The most interesting thing, though, is the faint image of a baby, which was so light I didn't notice it till I checked out. I can't tell if the picture just faded that much or if it left an impression on the paper backing. Either way, I'm calling it Ghost Baby. So what was your favorite of my finds this month? Let me know in the comments. Also let me know what antique or vintage treasures you'd like me to feature in the future. If you like this video, make sure you follow the adventure by subscribing and hitting the notification bell. See you on my next adventure.